So guys, this is 2 a.m. on 15 December 2020. Ako tengah find a way find the right way, the appropriate way untuk create an article analysis where you are only a student. So how do you do an article analysis appropriately? Sebab kau sendiri pun tak pandai nak create even an article. Now you have to analyze that article. So aku rasa macam we have to know the right way. Aku rasa lah. So I found this video. I think this is quite helping apart from what our lecturer have ajar lah.
So you go, you read it thoroughly, and now it's time to write it. The things you want to cover is you want an explanation of the article's main points. So really what it is that the author is trying to argue and how does that author argue the points. Your opinion about the piece as a whole, along with your justification for such an opinion. You really want to focus here on what you thought about the argument. Students sometimes fall into the trap of saying, oh, it was boring, or oh, it was this. That's not really what we're talking about here as your opinion. This is more about your opinion around the argument that's been laid, how you make sense of it, how you correlate that with what you understand about the subject. And then you also want to compare the ideas and thoughts that you've been exposed to in the course with what you see in the article. And this is really challenging for students. This is one of the hardest parts of this assignment is you need to make connections with what you're learning in the course. It might not always make sense, but you really want to think about how this author constructs or delivers the argument, the kind of approach he or she takes to popular culture, and the kinds of approaches you've seen taken with popular culture in the course thus far. This is we're about a third into the course by the time this is due, and you really should be paying attention to what other articles have done, how they've influenced your thoughts on popular culture, and be able to look at that and compare it with what this article does. Then you should also assess the author's notes and bibliography. You don't have to do this substantially, but you should look at what kind of resources, what kind of primary sources, what kind of secondary sources does this author use? What is the research that he or she is using to actually, make this argument of theirs powerful? Also, what's the author's background? Why is he or she qualified to actually write this article? So this will require a little bit of research. You need to go out onto the internet and really look for this information. Who is this person? Where do they work? What have they written? What do they teach? What is their degrees in? You want to find some basic information to see whether this person seems qualified to write this article. And don't forget, that's research, so you're going to have to cite that. That should be in your works cited. You should have citations in your paper. And then a discussion of how this particular article fits into this publication's theme and overall content. Students sometimes mess up on this. How does this article fit into the journal that it's been published in? How do those go together? Does it make sense that this article is in this publication, and why? And just to note, parts 1 through 3 should really be about 80% of your paper, while parts 4 through 6 should only be about 20. Parts 1 through 3 are really the meat of the paper, and you really want to make sure you focus on that. The other thing is I have 6 points here, numbered out. This isn't how you have to tackle them in your paper. You can lay out the paper however you want.